AM 1420 WIMS, the talk of the South Shore, 311. Thank your lucky stars here as we approach Thanksgiving on the Rock and Roll Radio program. You know, occasionally we're very lucky here on the Rock and Roll Radio program, Glenn and I, to have, you know, artists call in on the phone and talk music with us, to have artists perform in studio even on occasion. Today, though, pretty lucky to have one of the most influential artists who's still doing it out there. The man who pretty much, you know, with the influence of Sly Stone and Jimi Hendrix, created the funk genre. The man who headed up both Funkadelic and Parliament, and to this day tours a 22-piece ensemble known as Parliament Funkadelic. You can catch that actually in Chicago. That's going to be on November 29th, so Friday, a few days from now. Be sure to catch George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic. If you haven't seen it, these guys still put on about a 3.5-hour show. It's really quite something to behold. And again, they'll be doing this Friday the 29th in Chicago at the brand new Concord Music Hall on the city's northwest side on Milwaukee Avenue. George Clinton, we're very, very lucky to have this man join us here on this program. He's involved right now with a not-for-profit website called Flashlight 2013. You should visit this at flashlight2013.com. If you're an aspiring musician, this is something you should pay specific attention to. We also have, you know, a lot of musicians in this area, especially on the south side of Chicago, and certainly in northwest Indiana, musicians who performed over the years at the old Regal Theater, who should be aware that after 35 years from the release of a song, the original copyright expires, and you can attempt to get that copyright back. So that's what George Clinton wants artists out there to know, and he's using a not-for-profit website called Flashlight 2013 that he's become involved with to try and put that message out there for artists. So it's my pleasure to welcome to the program a man who pretty much needs no introduction, despite the fact that I just gave him a lengthy one. The creator of funk, the Atomic Dog himself, a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, Mr. George Clinton. Thank you for joining us on the show. How are you?
I'm fine. How you doing?
You know, I can't complain, but I will tell you that in 1994, the first concert that I willingly went to, first concert actually was Michael Jackson. The first one, you know, I made the conscious effort to attend was Lollapalooza in 1994, and you, of course, at that point were touring with the P-Funk All-Stars.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you're involved with Flashlight2013.com, which, as we mentioned earlier, is a website that people should visit, especially aspiring artists or, you know, any musicians who might be listening who have released, you know, songs themselves. This is an initiative, a not-for-profit initiative you've become involved with to make artists aware of their copyright rights. Every time I see you do an interview, you consistently mention that 2013 is a very important time for this initiative, that it's a key moment in this movement. Why is 2013 such an important year?
The good example is that if everybody would pay attention right now, this is 35 years since 1978. Everybody that did a song in 1978 has the right to reclaim that song right now. This is the first time this is taking place. Everybody that did a record in 78 can get their songs back, their masters back, all of that back right now. I'm going through that right as I speak with you. We're on the phone with the lawyers now trying to do all these forms to recapture the song. They make it very hard for you to do. And so it'll be advantageous for all artists to start right now watching what happened with anything that was recorded in 78 and see who get their songs back and how much trouble the industry give them getting their songs back. So these new artists will know what to do as this, because this will continue from now. Next year will be 35 years from 1979. So it goes like that. Because, I mean, you make deals when you first start out. That's part of the game.
You know, this morning I read an interview that you gave to NME in the UK in 1978. And this is an interview where you were advising new artists, you know, artists who were hoping to break into the industry. You were advising them to learn as much as they could about the business side of things then and about the pitfalls of signing a deal with, you know, a major label. Here we are 35 years later. Nothing has changed. Everything is the same. You know, all aspiring artists know exactly the pitfalls that are possible when it comes to signing a deal with a major label, and yet everybody still wants to do it. You as an elder statesman now, what kind of advice do you offer to somebody who's trying to break into the industry and who is desperate, despite all of the warning signs, to sign that major label deal?
You're going to do that just to get known. You're going to do that. I'd do that myself. If I was starting all over again, I still do, but I would pay attention to what I'm saying now is that you can educate yourself on, and it's a business. There's fun in everything, but it's like one of the most lucrative business in the world if you know how to keep that money and not get in tax trouble and and I've done it all, the drugs and everything. You're going to do all that, but there's ways to protect yourself, even after having all that much fun. You can believe that we getting ours back, and, we done mad at nobody, but we're going to get our money.
What exactly is your level of involvement with Flashlight 2013? Do you give an opinion?
We just put up the facts of the court cases and the information. I don't even give you my point of view. Most on that one, we have another site, Funk Probaski, where you might get a little my biased opinion, but it's still my opinion. But on Flashlight 2013, it's the straight facts for people to figure out what's going on. And if they look at it and get it all, and you can put it in chronological order, right on down to the statement that we have a RICO manifesto that we can line up and back it up with documents. You can get all of that off of Flashlight 2013 and put it together yourself. That's what we put it up there for. So,
well, obviously, Flashlight 2013 is a great way for up-and-coming artists to find out about what exactly their copyright rights are before they enter into a deal with a label. And obviously, it also, seeks to help artists who've been recording for 35 or 40 years to figure out just exactly how they can get their copyrights back. But you're not going to be around forever to talk about this. So, moving forward, what exactly do you see the role as of Flashlight 2013 moving forward?
If in history people decide to look at this whole phenomena of funk, hip-hop, and black music in general, and rock and roll, all of it, they do everybody the same. If they want to learn about this later on years, they're going to be able to find it all, just like we said on Flashlight 2013. We've been intending to make history. The spaceship is at the Smithsonian, and Flashlight is going to have all of the documentation of all of the court cases went on and around us. People will be surprised at how many songs that they've known over the last 30 years have originated with the help of, P-Funk songs and P-Funk songs themselves.
Right now at flashlight2013.com, there's a video posted, a YouTube video of you interviewing Pat Lewis. And Pat, of course, wrote with you during the Parliament Funkadelic days, wrote with Isaac Hayes during the Hot Buttered Soul days, and even had her songs, sampled by contemporary artists like D'Angelo. And it's this really, really sad story of an artist exploited because her, basically her copyright rights being exploited.
This is downright. She's did all this music for us, for Motown, for Isaac Hayes, Hot Buttered and Soul, the Andantes, and she's been in the background on my record since Testify. And so she's been around forever with Armin and all the people there in Detroit and everything. He gets her, and she's in dire straits right now. He gets her to sign over $5,000 that he owe her 1,000 times of D'Angelo and Roy Hargrove did the song "I'll Stay," which is she and I wrote back in '62 or something. He gave her $5,000 of the money he already owed her and made her sign a new thing, granting him the renewal right to the song. That's really horrible. Garrett Scheider was on his deathbed, couldn't make any kind of decisions, and to help his wife and kids, he signed all his rights away to him and had the kids sign it too at a time when he didn't know what the hell he was doing. And I was helping him at the time to try to get him not to sign those things, but he was worried about his family. He signed all his rights, and it had never been paid all those years in the first place, some time ago. But that's what we're up against, and that's why in Flashlight 2013 got to shine the light on that kind of stuff, because that's what they're doing to everybody. Barrett Strong in Detroit, you got a whole bunch of people that just need to be heard.
All right, well, last question. The word funk itself can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. An uplifting form of music to some, a good time to other people, even an art form that was, socially conscious and a source of pride in the African-American community. In the year 2013, at 72 years of age, what does the word funk mean to you?
Yeah, because funk is anything it needs to be to save your life. If you're funky enough, you can just let go of whatever you believe and embrace something. That's being funky. Music is the thing that do the best you can, and after that, funk it. That's the ultimate concept to me of funk. Do the best you can, then funk it. As it is, so be it. Let it be.
Well, there you go. It wasn't until earlier this week that I realized what a Beatles fan you were.
Right.
Well, thank you very much for joining us here on the Rock and Roll Radio program.
Thanks.
To everybody out there, visit funkprobaski.com. We'll post a link to that on our Facebook page. As always, that's the easiest way for you to find us and for you to find all of the content that we post on the Facebook page throughout the week. That's the Rock and Roll Radio program. Find us on Facebook, and we will link to George Clinton's website, Funk Probosky, and as well as flashlight2013.com. That's the site where you can learn all of this info that Mr. Clinton has talked about here regarding the copyrights. You can find all of that at flashlight2013.com, and again, we'll post that on our Facebook page. Also, if you're in the Chicagoland area or you don't mind a drive to the Chicagoland area, the northwest side of Chicago, a new venue called Concord Music Hall on Milwaukee Avenue on the city's near northwest side. George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic performing there this Friday, November 29th. All 22 members of the Parliament Funkadelic family will be on stage for that show. If you haven't seen it, it's really quite something. 22 people, 3.5 hours, and George Clinton, despite being 72 years of age, is pretty much out there 3/4 of the show. It's quite something. I'll be there. Find Glenn or I, and we will buy you a drink as always. But definitely something to check out. George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic, Friday, November 29th at Concord Music Hall. And again, visit flashlight2013.com. George told me he also has several projects in the work that we didn't even get a chance to talk about. One of which is a book. Another is a new Funkadelic album. There's a couple of new Funkadelic tracks you can find at iTunes, but the whole album should be out in April. Also working on a reality show with several of his family members, and he hopes to have that airing on Fuse sometime here in the spring. So a lot of things going on in the Parliament and Funkadelic family, and of course, we'll keep you posted on all of it here in the Rock and Roll Radio program. But we continue things now. The Drive-By Truckers, AM 1420 WIMS, the talk of the South Shore.
Grandmother's wheelchair